Recording now, this is lesson 1.3, adding integers using a number line. Before watching the recording, please make sure that you have the 1.3 adding integers using a number line worksheet. Along with that, make sure that you have a pencil and preferably a red pencil crayon and a yellow pencil crayon so that we're keeping consistent with the colors that we used when we added integers using number tiles in the previous lesson. If you need to pause the recording to grab those items, please feel free to do so. I'm going to continue. The first thing we're going to do is orient ourselves with the number line and integers. So first thing is to take your yellow pencil crayon and remember, think to yourself what yellow represented when we did positive and negative integers. Take your yellow pencil crayon and draw a line starting from 0 and just continue onwards. It's an arrow because numbers go to infinity on both the positive and negative sides. So we know that anything that's yellow or to the right of 0 is positive. So integers to the right of 0 are always going to be positive. So anything to the left of 0, and again draw using your red pencil crayon, anything to the left of 0 are negative integers. And again, that goes to infinity on that side too. Remember that integers also include 0 as well, but 0 is not positive or negative. Now, what you'll need to know is how to show the addition of integers using the number lines. So what I've done is I've recreated what you have on your worksheet. I've just written the questions here in pencil, and you should have this typed in on your worksheet in front of you. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the same colored pencil that represents that integer. Now in question 1, you have actually two positive integers you're adding. You're adding positive 4 and positive 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to indicate the adding on the number line using arrows. You should be showing 2 arrows in each equation because each equation here uses 2 integers. So we see that we've got positive 4 and positive 2. So we're going to use both yellow for both of them. So with the first integer, you're going to start at 0. So because the first integer is positive 4, you're going to draw a line from 0 and ending at positive 4 here. And then I would just indicate that with positive 4 at the top there. Actually, you might not be able to see that, so I'm just going to use pencil. So that, again, that first arrow represents the first integer in the equation, which is positive 4. And then you're going to take your yellow again because you're still dealing with a positive integer, and you're going to continue on from 4, and you're going to go positive 2, and you're going to end at positive 6. So there you go. You've got positive 4 represented by the first arrow and positive 2 represented by the second yellow arrow. So we know that positive 4 plus positive 2 equals 6. And make sure you circle your final answer. Also make note of the use of brackets when you are adding integers. So please make sure when you write your own integer equation that you use brackets. Okay, now on to number 2. In number 2, you have a negative integer and another negative integer added together. So remember that negative integers we established at the top are represented by red. So you're going to take your red pen. I'm just going to underline the negative here. So you've got negative 5 and negative 3. Now, similar to what we did in number 1, we're going to start at 0 for the first integer. So, and then we're going to stop at negative 5. So I'm going to go from 0, remember going to the left, all the way to negative 5, and you're going to end, and the arrow tip ends there. I'm going to indicate and label that that's negative 5. Now, the second arrow is going to be negative 3. We're going to continue where the first arrow left off, and again, it's going to be the same color, so I'm going to keep going. Oops, actually, sorry. All right, it should be the same color. And then I'm going to stop at negative 8. we know that that's -5, the first arrow, and the second arrow is -3. -5 and -3, we see that it ends at -8. So our answer to this integer addition question is -8, and I'm going to circle my final answer. Now, I challenge you to try to do number 3 on your own first before you see what I came up with for the answer. Remember to follow the same process as we did in numbers 1 and number 2. Think about where you start off with the first integer listed, and then think about where you continue on from with the second integer listed in the equation. So if you want to pause the recording to do number 3 on your own right now, please feel free to do so. Now I'm going to continue. Okay, so our first integer is +2, so we know positive integer is represented in yellow. Our next integer here is going to be -4, and I know that that's going to be represented with red. So I'm going to take +2 first. I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to go to the right 2 places. And then in pencil, I'm going to label up above, we've got +2. Now we've got -4. So with -4, remember that similar to numbers 1 and 2, you're going to start off your arrow off where the first arrow ended. And in this case, it's +2, but because it's a negative integer, you're going to go in the opposite direction from the positive integer. And I'm going to go 4. So my arrow here for -4 will start at +2, and I'm going to go back 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to end right here. Now, it's getting a little bit messy, so I'll just make sure I rewrite my equation up there. Because we went 4 back here, that's represented by -4, we actually ended up at -2. So that becomes our answer to that addition equation. So +2 plus -4 equals -2. And I'm going to circle my answer there so that I know that's clear. Now, again, if you would like to try and do number 4 on your own before I go through the answer and the steps, please feel free to pause the recording right now. Now, again, I always think about what color represents what integer. We have a -6, which will be represented by red. And then we have a +6, which will be represented by yellow. So we're going to start off with the first integer, and because it's red and because it's negative, we're going to start at 0 and go to the left 6 spots until we hit the -6, and then we're going to label it like that here. Okay, hopefully I can fit this all in there. So we know that we've stopped at -6. We're going to start at where the arrow ended for the second integer in the equation, and that's a +6. You're going to take your yellow pencil crayon, and you're going to start from where the last one ended, and I'm going to go up 6. But look, what you notice here is that you actually end up at 0. So I'm going to label that +6, that arrow there, because +6 and -6 cancel each other out in this case. Your final answer is 0. So -6 plus +6 equals 0. And that's how you use number lines to demonstrate integer addition.